So, okay, let me just. So, so the most people wanted to know, just like you had communicated and also had communicated through Aziz, that people wanted to know how to start a society, which is more or less a Sacco. I also belong to a Sacco. I come from one. I also started one. Was part of the team that started one about 6 years ago, and even actually right now I've already handed over. I was the treasurer. I was the first treasurer. I'm still a signatory somehow, somewhere, because we are still transitioning and doing all these resolutions. But I was able to successfully start one with a group of friends, and now we have grown as well. So so I'll be sharing with you, and definitely I'll expect questions at that tail end. So we're going to talk about various things, and I hope this will enlighten each and every single one of the people on this platform. I do thank you for inviting us through Aziz, and we are glad to share this evening. So let's get started. Hold on a bit. I don't know why it's okay. There it is. So start of a society for personal finance mastery community by Investors Club. That's where I work as a consultant for investment clubs or circles or companies that are intending to come together. So for today, we shall have an introduction on what investment clubs are, setting up as a cooperative in comparison to other orgs, and then managing groups, and then the revenue structure of how our cooperative looks like. So what is an investment club? Of course, this is a group of people who pull their money together, primarily, of course, for saving and investing together. But even before we go into saving and investing together, you find that groups first come in a certain way. Now, like for you, Darius, in this particular case, you're a personal finance coach. You've been gathering people and you've been coaching them on their finances. And so people have been getting onto the different WhatsApp platform groups. So we are coming all over from those different areas. People want to better their finances, and that is how you have merged us. And now we are saying we can be able to start to save and invest together. Mine came out of a church youth group. So I belong to a youth group, and we're like, you know what, why don't we start doing something as a youth group together economically, that we let us not just come and fellowship and go away. So most of the clubs start like that. Others come that they belong to an organization. You work, say, at Bank of Uganda, you work at URA, you work at Wazalendo, you work at UNRA, you work at the UN. Different organizations now have what? Have now Saccos. So an investment club is an investment club that has just pulled together people. They are first set up that we work together, we play together. Some of those groups even come out that we are a team that meets every Sunday to exercise together. So after that, they're like, oh, what should we do next? And then they're like, okay, let's maybe start saving and investing together so that we can now be more beneficial to one and then to one another. So you'll find that most clubs will also come through that way. So there is a way that you come, then now you decide to form the investment club. Now in Uganda, we have two regulations of formation, or laws, if I would call it, under the Constitution of Uganda. We do not have a constitution so we don't have a regulation or a law or an act that says that this is the investment club law. No, it is not there. So that means investment clubs have to form either way. So you come together, you start something, you start saving together. However, when you want to do more, you're already saving. For example, you come and open up an account with DFCU Bank. DFCU Bank is the first bank that opened up the avenues for investment clubs. So groups were given an opportunity to come and open up bank accounts. So you open up with a constitution. Usually they give you a draft constitution that you formulate and put your values and your systems in there, and then you start saving. You register it with URSB, draft a resolution, you register it and save a name and everything, and you register your URSB. They do all that paperwork for you. Then they would get you a bank account. Once they got you a bank account, then you would start saving money. However, when it came to starting to now invest that money, Now that's where the challenge came, that investment clubs are not recognized by the laws in Uganda. So what would happen is that you either formulated as a what? As a Sacco, those are the association, or partnerships or companies, because we have those regulations in place. Now with the Saccos, we are under the Cooperatives Act of Uganda. For the companies, we are under the Companies Act of Uganda. So of course, they all carry different, they have all, and I'll be showing you all the stipulations, how many people are supposed to be there, what is the startup age, and all those other things. So that is how they what? How now investment clubs would now form, because now you want to become a legal entity, because you would find that an investment club has accumulated money and then they want to start buying land. But when you go to buy the land, you cannot, even though you're called Personal Finance Mastery Community Club, there is no one who's going to register the land under Personal Finance Mastery Club, because the club is not incorporated, isn't it? So you'd find that now that those investment clubs had to eventually incorporate and become something legal. So that when you buy land, so that when you start investments, the investments are made under the Personal Finance Mastery Community Sacco, instead of it being between Darius and Susan, because now that's what some clubs started doing. Those ones which didn't want to formally legally form, now you'd find that the land is bought under Susan and Darius's names on behalf of the very many members. But that now would bring an element of contention in the future, because no one can prove that the money that Darius and Susan used was actually from the what? From the club's account. They can deny you. So you find that now you have to incorporate. You want to do business. The first thing they'll ask you, what are your legal documentation? What shows that you are shareholders? You get it? So you have to incorporate. So investment club is the overall umbrella. We have come together. What has brought us together? To save and to invest. However, to be able to do the business of saving, we can save properly as an investment club. But if we want to do the business of investing, yeah, properly, even and when you're just an investment club and you're not incorporated in any way, you can actually loan to each other money within, because you're using the account that you have at the bank, so you know who you loan the money with and everything. But the thing is that now when it comes to things like deploying that capital, deploying the money into various investments, it will be a challenge because you're not incorporated. And in Uganda, the laws of incorporation are either you're incorporated as a company or as a Sacco. And that is what I'll delve into in the next slides. So why nurture investment clubs? Number one, for social capital. They attracted diversity of people coming from different networks. So we come here for social capital, that we should be able to, as we are saving and investing together, but also socially we are meeting. We are meeting at networking events that the committees will set up, the annual general meetings and all those things, that we network, and then we are able to share a vast amount of ideas. And you find that you have a lawyer in the group, you have someone who is a plumber, you have a hairstylist, so you find even you're going to give business to each other, which is a beautiful thing. Then financial capital, that it's also a way to mobilize money. Each and every single one of us would want to start a business. However, if you wanted to start that business, you'd find that the money that you need to start it properly and it's off and it goes, and probably you need like about 100 million, 200 million. And as a person, you may not have it, yet your idea is great. However, if you come with you come together in such a group, you find that actually that same idea, you can introduce it there. We mobilize capital for it, and actually you find that your capital contribution is less, yeah, that a person would have invested 100 million will just invest 15 million Uganda shillings, because now we have other people who are partnering to do that business. So you can bring your idea and it will be developed, and you will do it and complete it, and as a group. You find that Equity Bank is a group that started as a Sacco. It was an investment club. It started as a Sacco, those ends in Saccos in Kenya, but now it is a bank, so it is possible. You mobilize the money together, and then you're able to move to have mileage. There is an investment club that wanted to ensure that everyone has land, so it was much easier for everyone to what? To mobilize in Sonde. They bought a big chunk of land. Now they are constructing for people what? Houses for their members. Intellectual capital, that each and every single one of us comes with a certain set of skills and talents. That no one is an island here, no one can fully satisfy themselves. That you find here in the group, we have auditors, we have lawyers, we have technicians, we have specialists in agriculture, we have specialists in import and exportation, and all those brains are coming together. So we are going to tap into these brains to be able to what? To be able to what? To get the ideas that are finally going to sell the what? The company and the business and the vision for all of us. So setting up as a cooperative. So definitely, where do I get the regulations that I'm going to share today? I definitely get them directly from the Cooperatives Act. So when you're setting up as a cooperative, first of all, registration is done by the Registry of Cooperatives. If you could excuse me just a bit, let me close the door so that it doesn't, the noise doesn't. Sorry. So registration is done by the Register of Cooperatives under the Ministry of Trade and Cooperatives located at Parliamentary Avenue. So that is where you're going to go for the registration of the cooperative. No society shall be registered under this act unless it consists of at least 30 persons, all of whom are qualified for membership of the society. One should be 18 years and above. If you have a child that is above 12 years of age, then they can also be registered, but cannot be allowed to serve as a committee member until they are of what? Of legal age. So you find that right now, under this law of the cooperative, they are saying if you do not have the number of 30, and that is so true, because I remember when we were also submitting our own paperwork, they said, are the people 30? Yes. And like, if they are less than 30, go and raise them up to 30 people. So that is what we did. So you cannot register unless you are 30 people. And thank God this team already, I think Darius was able to intimate that you're over 500 members. So which is very good. So already you have the numbers that are register one. They're also saying that when you have a child that is, because for some of us who would have children and want to start saving for them, that it's possible as long as they're above the age of what? Of 12. What they can do, they can be members, they can be contributed for, but what they cannot participate in is being, for example, on the executive committee. They cannot serve as a secretary, they cannot serve as a treasurer, they cannot serve as anything. They can just until the age of what? Of 18, when they are now of legal age, and then they can now be nominated for something. So I believe that is also a good initiative for those who want to bring in their children to start saving. The club may incorporate under the savings and credit bylaws or the multi-purpose cooperative bylaws. The registrar will offer 24 months probationary period to oversee the activities and performance of the society. You'll be offered a certificate of registration to this effect. So what happens is that when you go to the Ministry of Cooperatives, they tell you, do you want to incorporate as a savings and credit? First of all, they all have the word Sacco, so you can be a bit confused. Do you want to incorporate as a savings and credit or a multi-purpose? So you'll be like, we want to be a savings and credit. The moment you say savings and credit, that means you're already putting a limitation to yourselves as a Sacco. Because savings and credit, those Saccos that are strictly savings and credit, I'll give an example like Wazalendo, it's savings and credit society. You find that for them, they are limited to only receiving members' savings and issuing out credit or loans to the members, that is to the soldiers. But then when you go to a Sacco like YSAFE and also ours, mine is called Case of Multi-Purpose Cooperative, we are saying that we are going to engage in one or two or more enterprises. That means we can do any type of business. We can do savings and credit, we can do real estate, we can go into agriculture, because we are a multi-purpose what? Cooperative. So you're going to have to decide, do we want to be strictly savings and credit, that for us we are a cooperative that receives money and loans it out, or we're a cooperative that actually wants to engage in more than just saving and credit? So once you decide upon that, I would advise you will be to take on the multi-purpose, because the multi-purpose allows you to do so much more. Then the 24 months probationary that the registrar gives you 24 months, and I think that is why some people have even used that loophole, that they can create circles to just hoodwink people, hoodwink organizations that are giving money, because there is that thing that you can be given a probationary certificate for 24 months. So after, the registrar will evaluate and be like, how have you been performing? Are people saving? Are people buying shares? Are people investing? What is happening? They will need to see activity. For us personally, as a Sacco, KESAF right now, we have now gotten our permanent registration. So our certificate, our temporary one, got expired in April 2020, but because of COVID, we couldn't immediately renew it. So we started that process last year, late last year, and our new administrators now say now we have a permanent registration certificate, and that is after even actually the Sacco, the Sacco representatives came, they spoke to us, they reviewed everything, and they saw that we were fully functioning, and then they were able now to recommend us for a full registration, a permanent one, which we would receive from the registrar. So that now they are saying that for you, okay, you can now operate. But it doesn't mean that if you're given permanency, you cannot be cancelled. If your registration certificate can be cancelled, it can be cancelled, especially if they find out that the Sacco is one that is engaging maybe in illegal business, things that are not within the laws of Uganda. But other than that, you shouldn't have any challenges. Yeah, so 24 months, they review, then they give you the permanent one. Then the officers, these ones include a chairperson who you're going to have, a secretary, a treasurer or a member of a committee, say a loans committee, investment committee, employee or other person empowered under any regulations made under this act or the bylaws of a registered society to give directions in regards to the business of a registered society. So you have to have officers. I was a treasurer, we had a vice chairperson and a chairperson, we had a secretary. We also had an administrator. Actually, we had to also hire an administrator because you find that most of us were in full-time employment, and so we didn't have enough time to run. But when you employ a full-time administrator, that one is managing everything. They're like your CEO. They are running everything in regards to to the Sacco, and then they're reporting to the executive. Of course, the executive is overseeing whatever the administrator is doing. So it's very, very important that also, especially if you're going to be a Sacco of over 500 people, you need a dedicated administrator to be able to run those operations. Then you'll have the word cooperative as part of your name and limited at the end, so as to limit the liability of members. So here what it's essentially saying that the risk to all these members that are going to be part of this Sacco is that you're limited to the shares and the savings and the money that you hold within personal finance community Sacco. The moment, that is in the event that the Sacco has faced bankruptcy, has liquidity challenges and everything, they're not going to come and say that, by the way, Darius, Darius is not going to say that people please bring your cars, your homes and everything to be put up as as collateral to be able to pay up our debtors and everything. No, the liability of the members is only up to the things that they hold within the Sacco. So that means if they hold shares, all that will be lost. Any capital will be lost, any money in savings will be lost in case there is any challenges of like bankruptcy, mismanagement, and yet you have creditors. So they're not going to come for anyone's personal property to be able to take it in regards to paying the Sacco's debts and the creditors. Yeah. So that is a must on your name. And then no member shall hold more than 1/3 of the paid up share capital of any cooperative. No member shall hold more than 1/3 of the paid up share capital of any cooperative. Of course, what are they trying to say? They don't want to spread the risk. There are some people who are going to be avid buyers of these shares. They're going to be buying a lot of the shares within the Sacco. But that means it's the job of the administrator and the executive to be like, who's starting to cross over the 1/3? You find that there are people who are no longer buying shares in the what? In the Sacco, yet there's someone who is accumulating because shares are beneficial. And I'll show you how they are beneficial at the tail end. So now, if someone is going to have more than one third of the paid up share capital, that means they have the biggest risk exposure to themselves. That means if anything was to happen, they would be the ones who would lose the most. So that means the executive and the administrators of the Sacco have to keep watch of everyone's liquidity position, of everyone's financial position in the Sacco. The moment the paid up share capital is starting to exceed the one third, immediately tell that person, I think you should stop buying shares. We shall let you know when you can next make the other purchase. Are we together? So that person's the person's exposure to risk is also limited. That means you'll have to also encourage others to start buying more of those shares so as to try to meet him and dilute him so that he can also be able to continue to buy if he so wishes. So you make sure that you're keeping track of that. Then no company incorporated or registered under the Companies Act and no unincorporated body of persons shall be entitled to become a member of a registered society except with the written permission of the registrar. There are some companies that want to come and become part of what? Of Saccos. They are saying, no, you cannot be a company and then you want to be part of a what? Of a Sacco, unless you have been given written permission by the registrar of the cooperative at the parliamentary avenue. Then a member of a registered society shall not exercise any of the rights of a member, which I'm going to also discuss with you. A member of a registered society shall not exercise any of the rights of a member until he or she has made such a payment to the society in respect of membership or has acquired such interest. I put in brackets. That means they are saying you cannot exercise rights of a member if you have not paid membership fee and if you don't have shares in the Sacco. Because that means what shows that you're a member? What shows that you're a member? You've paid a membership fee and you've also paid up for your shares in the society as may be prescribed by regulations made under this act or by the laws of the society. Now, when you go to register, part of the documentation that you put up, they tell you, how many shares, what are the people, who are the people who are part of the society, the minimum of 30 that we need, these are the ones. Where are their shares? These are how many shares they have paid for. What is the membership fee? Where is the membership fee they paid for? Those things are checked. And of course, they go inside. They look also at the balance sheet, the bank statement, to see that that money is actually there in the account. So they'll ask for the DFCU bank statement. Each member of a registered society shall have one vote only as a member in the affairs of the registered society. So here, what I'm trying to say, even though Darius is the largest shareholder in this Sacco, he only has one vote. Only. Darius cannot do anything. Even though he puts up his hand regarding certain decisions that are being made, and even though he starts screaming on the top of his lungs that actually I'm the highest shareholder here, he only has one vote. In order for Darius to take the day in regards to certain decision making, he has to convince so many people to also align with him to be able to take that day. This is not a company. This is a Sacco. In a Sacco, and I believe they did that for the sake of unity, that in order not to distort them. Remember, Saccos, what was the background of cooperatives? And most of them were that they were cooperatives for farmers, coffee farmers, matoke farmers, and all these other things. But now they have allowed that even the corporate, like even us, the ones who are not necessarily doing the day-to-day business of farming, that we can also form these cooperatives. But if the main goal was to bring unity. So that means if Darius has a decision, his shares are not going to help him influence. It is the voice of the majority people, each vote, one vote, and to be able to to take the day. This is not a company, and for the company, I'll show you. For the company, the one who has the most shares, obviously takes that day. They just put up their hand, and you're like, the one who has the highest number of shares has put up their hand, and they're like, the eyes have it. To get it, they just have to look for who, the secretary who is taking note of the votes will just look, because for them, they know who is the highest shareholder in a company. The moment that person puts up the hand, already that day has been taken. But for a cooperative, that's not how it works. Every society shall have a board consisting of an odd number of members, not less than 5 and not exceeding 9. Of course, this is in regards to decision making, so that there will be a tiebreaker, isn't it? So you cannot be even numbers, you have to be odd numbers, so that we can have that one person who will help us break the tie in case it comes to voting on certain on certain issues within the cooperative. Yeah. Then the next slide. The rights and obligations. The rights and obligations to members. What are your rights in the law? And what are your obligations within the law? A member of a cooperative society shall have a right, number 1, to attend, participate, and vote for decisions taken at all general meetings of the society. You have a right to come and attend and to participate. So even though your idea, your reasoning may be the least favored, but you have the right to come and attend and make your voice known, isn't it? To be elected to organs of the society subject to its bylaws, policies, and resolutions of the general meeting. That you have also the right. So that means when they say if you want to put yourself up to be nominated for the executive committee, for the board, please raise up your hands. You come, you put in your CV, and people will vote for you, isn't it? People will vote like, I think we would want Darius to be our next chairperson of the board, and all these other things. So you have that right. The only person who is not allowed is the child that is under the age of 18 years. But all of us can be up for nomination of all these key positions. To enjoy the use of all facilities and services of the society, subject to the society bylaws, policies, and resolutions of the general meeting. So every facility, if you get an office somewhere, you have access to that facility. You can easily go there. To access all legitimate information relating to the society. So that means this information, they can, if you woke up one morning and for you as a member, you're not agreeing with the things that are the numbers that are being posted by the executive committee. You're like, you know what, tomorrow I am coming. In the morning, you pay them a visit. You're like, can I have access to their accounts? You have to get access to all that legitimate information because it is there. They are audited accounts. You have the right to access them at any time that you want. Yeah, so that is your right as a member. Then obligations. A member shall observe and comply with all the society's bylaws and decisions taken by the relevant organs of the cooperative society in accordance with the bylaws of the society. So if there are certain decisions that are taken, your duty and obligation as a member is to comply and observe. You might have been in the minority, the ones who voted against, but at the end of the day, your decision is not the one that took the day. It was the majority decision, the majority members, the mass members that agreed. So you might not agree with it, but it's what has been decided. So instead of you continuing to object in any meeting, trying to cause up any problems, you are not allowed to do that, because once a resolution has been passed, your obligation is to observe and comply with it. Then pay up for shares or make any other payments provided for in the bylaws of the society. That there are some payments that are going to have to be made. The payment for shares. I remember in the multi-purpose books, the small ones, even they would leave for you dotted lines. That what is the per share, the amount being paid per share, how much or how many shares per member. All those things were there. So any money that is going to be agreed upon, of course, those are discussions we're going to have after this. What is going to be a suitable amount for everyone to comfortably contribute, and then you will start from there. Then meet the debts of the society in case of bankruptcy in accordance with the provisions of this act and the bylaws of the society. Meet the debts of the society. So if there are any debts to be made, of course, we shall look at remember, you already have limited liability. So you cannot be like, take for me my money, you give it to me, I'm not the one who told you to take out all those debts. No, you have to oblige. If they say all our money is going to be used, all our assets that we have acquired to pay back our debtors, there is nothing you can do. You're not going to start saying, you give me my money, I was not part of those decisions. No, already you have debtors as a Sacco, and you have to be able to what? To pay them. So pay them out, and then of course any money that is left, they'll share it back to you, just like it is with a company. When they are winding up, they use all the assets and they pay up for everything that is being demanded of them. If there is money left, they give it back to the shareholders. If there is no money left, everyone goes home with nothing. Yeah. The only things that you have are the things that you own personally, that you have acquired. Maybe you have acquired land. Those are the things that you will benefit. Those are the things that you will go away with. But anything that is within here, the assets of the Sacco, those ones, unfortunately, they are up for sale if in the case of what? Of bankruptcy. And no one should fear these things. These are the normal days. It's all of you, some of you here on this platform are business people, and you know that these are the risks that you face each day. So these things are not new, they are known, but the law just prepares you for all eventualities. The good times are going to be there, but also the bad times will be there if there is a lot of financial mismanagement. But if everything is going well, the right decisions are being taken, policies are being followed, integrity is there, no one is stealing the Saccos money, then you have no problem to worry about meeting the debts of what? Of someone, because there are Saccos that have existed for even more than 10, 30 years, isn't it? So it's not going to be a difficult thing. Then patronize the society. Patronize the society, meaning that make it known to other people, bring other people to join, people who are like-minded. Meanwhile, you're also not just going to accept everyone, isn't it? There's a certain level, I think, and criteria that Darius and the team, you people are going to agree that to be part of this circle, you have to be this and this and this. For us, it was that you belong to the youth, to the church where we formed the circle, and that you're a youth member. So there are certain things that are going to be there, because you also don't just want people from the outside that you do not know, because remember, we are going to start lending money to each other. If we start taking money out to each other, remember, who is the security? The security are the members. It is. I don't think you've ever seen a Sacco at the police station saying that these people failed to pay our debts. The first person who is a security, because remember, we are going to guarantee people's loans. So now imagine we have strangers in the what? In the Sacco, people who we do not know, who we have never heard of. And imagine that person, we have guaranteed their loan. You do not know where they stay. They never attend any of the meetings. And yet you've guaranteed their loans. They're going to run away. And you're going to fail to trust them. And the people who guaranteed their loans are the ones who are going to be at risk, because they risk losing their what? Their money. So patronize the society, but patronize it to people who are like-minded, who have the same value system, and people who are going to be known to also to the other member. They should come and be known to other people, know where they stay, know who their children are, who is the wife, and all those other things, because that is all part of the what? Of the security that we need when we are issuing out money to members in forms of capital. Then setting up as a company, this I think most people have done it, but I just picked out a few things from the act. So company means a company formed and registered under this act, or an existing company or registered company under this act. So a company can either be a public company or a private company. Obviously, for you choose to be a private company, because a public company is one that is going to list on the stock exchange. So that means you'd be a private company. If anyone or more persons may for a lawful purpose form a company by subscribing their names to a memorandum of association and otherwise complying with the requirements of this act in respect of registration, form of an incorporated company with or without limited liability. So you can form a company with limited liability and one without. And they're also saying that for the legal documentation for this. So the other one, for the Sacco, we shall have the Cooperatives Act, the one that they will give you, the multi-purpose books are the pink small books, the savings and credit are long blue books. So here they are saying for a company, you need to have a memorandum of association. Of course, there are also articles of association as well that go along with the memorandum. Those are the legal documents you have for the what? For the association. The other side, they will give you a certificate of incorporation here, certificate of registration. Here they will give you a certificate of incorporation to be like, now you're a fully registered company. This the setting up of a company limits the number of its members to 100, not including persons who are employed by the company and a person who has been formally employed by the company. So that means that for you already you're 500, isn't it? But they're saying that under company law, you can only be up to 100 shareholders. That means the best setup for you is as a cooperative and not as a company. Because a cooperative even doesn't have limits. You can even have 10,000 members. It is possible. Yeah. So it allows, because the laws of Uganda also say once a person exceeds the 100 threshold, then they start becoming a what? A public company. For a public company, when they're listing on the stock exchange, you to be able to consider that company as a successful listed company or a successful IPO, it should have more than 1,000 people applying for shares. That means we should have more than 1,000 shareholders coming to apply for those shares. So automatically you become a public company. So because you're not also going to become a public company, a publicly traded company, that means the best setup would be under the Sacco arrangement. Under a company, the shareholders with more shares have more voting power. That is, the bigger your stake, the more you influence decisions. I'll give an example. When we went for the Umeme AGM, that was last week, on the other week on the 19th, they took time to mention who the shareholders were and who their representatives were. So there are these shareholders that actually are abroad and they have custodians that are taking. So there's this particular lady, I'll not mention the name, that they kept on saying that she's not representing that particular shareholder. She's representing that particular shareholder. The NSSF obviously had also its representation. So when it comes to voting on certain issues like a dividend, a board seat, and all those things, the secretary, the one who is taking down notes, is going to look for those two people because they represent the biggest composition of the market. So even though as the one inch we are very many and we are the most and we have refused, the moment they look at those two people and they look and their hands are raised for a particular vote, then those people have taken that day because they're representing shareholding structure of the biggest shareholders. Yet in a Sacco, it's not like that. In a Sacco, we are going to actually take time to count each hand 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 to see who are the what. Of course, sometimes you can just see by show of hands that the majority has taken it. But sometimes you really have to take note for a Sacco to count each and every single, so that it's on record that maybe 400 people voted for yes and 50 were against. You get it? So they take time to what? To count. Then also currently, maybe something that I didn't add here, currently all the money that we make in Saccos, income tax, we are not subject to income tax, the 30% corporation income tax. We are not subject to it. They wanted to bring it, but the president was like, you know what? Saccos are still growing. Of course, URA was seeing that these Saccos are becoming bigger and bigger and bigger. They have a lot of money. Even banks are running after them because they know that Saccos now are the ones that are the investment clubs under Saccos are now mobilizing so many people. So you find that there is a lot of money underneath them. So you find that now they're like, now these that are becoming big and they're doing all these types of investments, we need to start taxing their incomes. But they're like, since they are still growing, they suspended the tax on any Sacco because, first of all, they even directly affect Omuntu. Because remember, those are your savings. It's your money that is going to be subjected to all this taxation. Then for the companies, obviously, when you set up a company and you declare profits, the tax money is coming. 30% of corporation tax will come, for you. So that is a reality when it comes to setting up a company. So managing groups, how do we manage these groups? Because I think Darius mentioned that they can be too big. It is vital that a club has a set vision. These circles have to have a set vision, mission, and values. For example, if you say that you wanted to be the largest matoke distributors in the EA region, that can be the vision. And I think that is something now that you need to start thinking of as a group. We are about 500 plus. What do we want to achieve? What is our goal? What is the need? Of course, the vision is going to come from the most important need. What is the need? What are people saying? So I believe a survey can quickly go out that what would people want to see? Is it that the majority of these people here do not have a home? They're not homeowners. Can we be that our circle will be one that is ensuring that everyone will become a homeowner in the next 20 years? You get it? That is a vision, and it's an expensive vision, but it's a beautiful vision because it can be achieved. You get it? Eh? So all of us have to rally behind. And these visions, those things may not come in the Cooperatives Act. Those are things that you can put in this constitution that the DFCU will give you. The constitution, that's something that guides us, that what is our vision. For us, we went and sat and we started editing and like, this is what we want to be. Yeah. And we started writing because the vision has to be big. Then we have to have vision and mission and all these other things. Then eventually you're also going to have to draft a strategic plan. This can be a 10-year strategic plan, and you're like, in 10 years, how much money should have we, what should be the value of the Sacco, how much should we have, if it is getting for everyone a home, how many people should we have built homes for, or bought homes for? As in, those are the things that right now need to be addressed, because remember, when you're coming together, you're starting to address needs that would otherwise be very difficult for you to handle as a person individually. But when you come as a team, then you're able to achieve and have scale. And then you find that things like, for example, if you're going to get homes, if you're going to buy homes, you can actually demand, and you create that demand and you start buying homes, and you may even buy these homes a bit cheaply and also resell them back not so expensively back to the what, to the members. And then you have convenient timelines of how they finish paying up for these what, for these homes. So things like that you need to start thinking, and that everyone has to sign on this constitution. Because some people have a habit, I've experienced it. You agree to certain things, then 3 years down the road, people are starting to deny you. But when you have your documentation, that constitution where people signed that they actually agreed to the overall vision and mission and the strategic plan of the circle, then they cannot just bail out. They may want to start suing and what, but once they have signed, no one can what, can start what. So everyone, even though they are new members, you share with them the constitution, they send you back a signed copy, because they need to agree to what you're going to do as a club, so that they do not deter you. Then consider the financial capacity of members you want to bring together to form the investment club, this circle that we want to do. People usually get excited. That is so true. At the initial stages, we are all excited. But now when it comes to the business of sending money, and then they said, and sometimes some members were more excited than the others, and they're like, I think we can bring 300,000 per month. And yet not all of us can afford 300,000 per month, because all of us earn differently. Some people lost jobs during COVID. Some people have half payment, half salary. Some people are actually not expressing. So I believe also a survey can be taken whereby you can quickly send to people can see on the WhatsApp platform, and they can privately respond back to Darius and whoever is the secretary and the executive members, to be like, you know what, this is for me what I can handle. You just give 50,000, 100,000, 200,000, what will be convenient, so that you see where the majority lie. Where the majority lie is where you're going to. Then you're like, now we have set the minimum, that this is the minimum. That means no one can go below that amount. Then if people want to save over and above, it's also okay. If people want to save over and above, say if the minimum is 100,000, yeah, it is okay. Let people now, if someone brings 300,000, it is not bad. But that means that no one can bring less than 100,000. So some of those things have to be discussed and agreed to. Then don't waive rules and sign. For example, if you say that the 10th of every new month we shall have deposits coming in, then don't say that, for me, I'm Darius's friend, even though I send the money at any time. And then Darius also accept like, hey, it's okay, I've seen it. Immediately the money doesn't come at the 10th of every month, you strike a fine. You're like, by the money that you have sent, we have deducted 5,000 in fines. So next time you send the money a bit earlier. When it's time for paperwork of loans, make sure that everyone signs. People will deny you. You will think that, this is my birthday. We even go and hang out together. You even be there discussing, like, by the way, I want a loan like of 10 million. Like, it's okay, you put in your request. And even the person has not signed anywhere. He has not even brought you guarantors within the club. They have not signed. No one has guaranteed his loan. That person, if they don't want to pay, I think you've all been seeing these sagas around people taking money and not paying. Those things are realities. People will be like, I'm stranded. After all, did I sign anywhere? I didn't sign. I will deny you, Darius. I'm like, for me, you didn't give me money. Even when it shows that actually you took the money, someone will what? Will deny you. So make sure that people have signed. Yes, I know this is a .com era. Send the people paperwork. They print it, complete it, sign it, send it soft copy. It is okay to retain a soft copy. They send their national IDs, they put their kafan, and they can put like a picture so that you know who took the what? The loan. You also send them their loan repayment schedule. Yeah, those things are not hard to make. You send them their loan repayment schedule. It can be an Excel sheet. You can even make it beautiful. For us, we would make it beautiful, put it on a PDF. You send them. They also know their dates when their money is supposed to be coming in every month. Then, if a member faults on his or a payment for three consecutive, if you default and you've not been sending money for 3 months consecutively, please come and inform us officially. Inform the executive official. Why do you wait for them to say that, by the way, you've not been sending money? Come and inform them officially so that they can know that, by the way, I have been failing to pay, maybe because I lost a job, and they'll understand. They'll be like, you know what? Let's give you 3 months to see if you will get a job. Once you have gotten that job, then you start paying back. You resume with your what? With your payments. But you find that there are members who will sit there. For me, I went and I gave notices, and I'm like, if you want to be part of us, please make it known. If you can't, please let us also know. And people started calling me, sending emails like, you know what, it's just that I've been having. I'm like, why didn't you say these challenges before? But thank God we're able to understand. Everyone was able to recommit, and I think we only let go of about 5 people, and they left, and it's okay. The others, actually, one of them who left also finally came back when they were what? When they are financially stable. So don't be afraid to come and say that, by the way, because remember, when they are not sending in the money, they're also killing the momentum. Momentum can kill when people are not seeing those. Remember, you have like quarterly meetings or monthly meetings. Every month you come, the money is just reducing. Every month you come, the money is just reducing. The contributions are just reducing. They're not growing. That kills the momentum. People can be like, even the one who saves the most can be like, these ones are even not serious. I'll not be until they get serious. I'll start sending them my money. So you can kill momentum. So it's very, very key that is done. Then holding and attending club meetings is very vital for communicating as well as managing the expectations, which I've already said. And sometimes people think that when they send us money, they are doing us a favor. Please don't just send your money. You come and also be part of the decision making, because you're the same person who's going to scream if certain decisions are done and you're not appreciative of them, and like there are things that you don't agree with. So yes, send your money. We love it, but don't just send your money. Also make yourself available. Thank God we now have various platforms. We have the e-platforms, and we also have the physical platform. So for those who are able to attend physically, please do show up. For those ones who are able to attend via Zoom and these WhatsApp calls, then it's also okay. But for an AGM, I would recommend, honestly, people have to turn up physically. I've attended AGMs where people are, some are online and some are physical. Oh my God, those AGMs are hectic. Managing the people who are online is very, very, very hectic. So so I would prefer that for the annual general meeting, I would recommend that it is physical for everyone, and then the other monthly meetings are the ones that can be online. Yeah, they can be a mix of both things. Then when disgruntled about something, members should report first to the executive directly instead of gossiping about the issues with cliques, and cliques can cause the mayhem, and we can fail to recover. Remember, not all of us are strong. Someone is going to make a comment and say, Darius, that guy even didn't give me money last time, and he delayed to even process my payment and all those other things. Now the person who is listening may be of a weak heart and be like, but even what's the point? Why do I have to belong to this club? You get it, eh? Then you start seeing withdrawals, and you don't know why people are withdrawing. Kumbe someone made a comment, and yet this person who has made the comment, for them they're even not about to leave the club. They're actually there firm. So instead of, if you're disgruntled, please come and make it known. Usually at the beginning, when we are beginning these things, we are volunteering. Everyone is alongside their full-time job is also giving time to run this thing, to run this initiative. So you find that all of them, we all have things that are keeping us busy. So maybe I might not have processed your payment for one or two reasons, but it's not because I didn't want to, but because maybe I had a meeting, all these things. That is why I said for a group of 500, I think you need to have an administrator. But of course, you see things like the signatories to other account, and that's also who have to empower the administrator with money, because if they don't send them the money, then it also becomes hard. So you find that you have to work out, lay the systems on how, if you say that every Friday with this bus loans, that means anyone who wants a loan, please make sure that your paperwork is in at the latest Wednesday, so that it's reviewed Wednesday evening, Thursday, then Friday payments are processed to those ones who have what issued for loans. So have systems so that you can reduce this disgruntlement. But please do not gossip, just come and tell the executive. They'll be able to understand, and they'll be able to give explanations for certain things. You extend grace to others as well. Then you're an investment club, but also a business entity of, as I've already told you, Saccos are incorporated, so they are business entities. Get someone with accounting knowledge. For us, we got an accountant actually to review for the very first time our books last year. We also got an auditor as well that we paid for the very first time. But other than that, I was the one managing the accounts and balancing. But now that they were growing, we had to get an external person to come and look at them. Get a lawyer on board, either as a member or a retainer basis, to look at all the regulations, all the illegal issues, the loan documents that are going to be signed, the constitution. There'll be someone to read it and really properly align it with the different laws that are already set, and make sure that all those things, and that lawyer is working directly with the secretary to make sure that all the paperwork is aligned. Once a year, of course, like I've already said, get an external auditor, and they'll also come and speak at the annual general meeting to affirm the results that were reviewed as well. Then get speakers on topical issues, at least once a quarter, especially in line with what you want to do. If you say that we want to now be serious exporters, then get people who know about the exporting business to come and talk to you. I believe DFC, you can arrange those same facilitators. Usually they do at a free cost. Sometimes if you want to engage and pay some money to others, it's also okay. Then organize an AGM and social events, visits to other clubs, and business site tours. So make sure that there are social events to keep the momentum, to keep people aligned, and all these other things. Then points to note: one should belong to a club that has the same values, as well as sharing the same investment objectives. Yes, here you need to know the value system here. The goals need to be known. Can we align those things? Once we align those things, people are not going to have challenges. If we are people of integrity, let's be people of integrity. If we are people that have decided to implement all the way to the end, let us implement each and every single goal that we have. Other than that, please review. Say, what are the values? What do you consider? What are you looking out for as we start, before I join, so that it is known to every member what we are going to do. Members of the club are encouraged to be long-term investors. Yeah, this is a problem. You're going to executive, you're going to suffer. Some people can be like, we have been saving here for 2 years, but we have never got a return. Anyone who wants Kagwira or money, anyone who wants to start returning money in 2 years, hey, I don't think this is the place for you. Saccos are not the place for you. You go and do your own personal business, because these things take time. Already you're going to have a lock-in period. You're just generating the money, the savings, you're just generating the capital base to be able to start. So you may find that the only thing that you can start right now with money maybe are like things like treasury bills and bonds and maybe loans. Those are the things you can start. But even for loans and treasury bills, you may not even start for a year, because you want to gather up as much money as good money. You get it? So you'll find that, and remember, if now, like for loans, if you just have 10 million raised and everyone now, you say that now there are loans and people start borrowing, you may find that the 10 million is even not enough for the 500 people. You get it? So there has to be a lock-in period. You get it? Yeah. So long-term investment in the capital markets, 0 to 5 years is known as short-term. 5 to 10 is medium-term. Anything above 10 years is long-term. So I think you're understanding. Here, the expectation is that at least in 7, 8, 10 years, then we are starting to see serious results from the what? From the Sacco. If you're not willing to be patient with that, then this is not the place for you. Yeah. There should be a person who is willing to champion the initiative at the initial stage. Someone should be a leader who others will always look up to. So here, essentially, we are saying Darius is our champion. Darius, if you're going to be full-time CEO of these 1,000 people, then get ready. Because the moment there is no champion, then things are also going to what? To fall apart. So you need to be ready to be a full-time CEO, someone who's going to run, follow up on things, on initiatives, set strategies and all these things, and work with a team. And by the way, as Darius is being CEO, he has to be paid a salary. So it is not that it is for free of charge, he and his team. I don't think any of you have ever gone to Wazalendo, UN Sacco, URA, YSEV. All those people are paid salaries for administering those what? Those big circles. Are we together? Yeah. Then revenue structure. Revenue structure of a Sacco is just easy. That now these are the things that are going to comprise some of your balance sheets. Capital contribution. Here is a share is a single unit of ownership in a company or a Sacco. It's essentially part ownership of the cooperative. And they've already told you that in the cooperative, you cannot be considered a member if you don't have shares. So when an individual buys shares, he or she buys a stake in the assets and the earnings of the company. Many cooperatives or companies will always have the need to raise money for expansion, and one of the best ways of doing is to sell ownership in the form of shares. And I gave an example of that the club has 10 members and has issued out 100 shares, each at 10,000. That means what means that if all the shares are paid for, and the total contribution would be about 1 million shillings. What are the benefits of owning shares in a Sacco? Dividends as a result of profit generation. So when profits are declared at the end of the year, they'll tell us now, like for us in Umeme, we are going to earn 54 shillings per share. In MTN, we are going to earn 4.7 shillings per share for MTN shareholders. So these dividends will be declared. They'll be like, for each shareholder, you're each taking 50 shillings per shares, or 100 shillings per shares. So the more shares you have, the more money that you'll get. And of course, you're going to set a dividend policy. The dividend policy is important, saying that 50%, you can, like, I'll give an example. Umeme has a policy that 50% of the profits they make go back to shareholders. Even you can set your policy at the beginning in the constitution that maybe 50% of the profits that are made by the Sacco go back to the shareholders, or even 30%. It will depend on the need of the Sacco at that time. If you want to really grow and expand the Sacco, that means you may find that the dividend may be minimal. You may be like, let's limit it to 40-60. 60 is retained as profit, as retained earnings in the Sacco. Then 40% we pay out to the what? To the shareholders. Then limited liability, which I already explained that your liability is only limited to the shares that you hold within the Sacco. Then enhance as well through capital appreciation. That, of course, as a shareholder of a Sacco, there's a time when you would want to exit. Yeah, so when you're exiting, you can go and be like, you know what, we bought each share at 10,000, the Sacco has grown. What is the current value? What is the value of each of my shares in this Sacco? So, of course, that is already being analyzed because you have financial statements, and that can easily be given to you. That, if you are Darius, if you want to sell your shares, you'll sell each of your shares at, say, 15,000 Uganda shillings. That means your gain per share is going to be 5,000 Uganda shillings. Of course, it can also be the other way, that actually there is been loss in the value in the Sacco. So that means maybe you exit at, say, 8,000 Uganda shillings. So you make a bit of loss. But remember, for the shares, it is not going to be the executive to look for a buyer. Within the Sacco members, you have to look, you who is selling, you have to look for a person in the Sacco who is willing to buy your stake. Yeah, to buy your shares, and you exit and you go. The only thing that they can give you is your savings, the money that you have. That one, they'll have to give it to you clean money. But the shares, the share money, unless if the Sacco has a fund that for anyone who wants to sell and exit, we can buy their shares at a certain price. That means that the Sacco creates an avenue to be able to buy the member shares. But in most cases, usually you're the one who goes, and among the members, you're like, there is this member who is exiting and who has put up their shares for sale, and then the members can bid for those shares. Then form of savings. Of course, shares are a form of savings because remember, they're going to also be used as also collateral as you're getting loans from the Sacco. Then they also come with voting rights. They give you that power. Then they're also easily transferable. So you should also have processes in place of that. In the event that I am no more, how do these shares go to my children and the likes? So there should be a process for transferring shares within the what? Within the Sacco. Then savings, once members have finished buying, of course, usually the requirement is at least first buy shares, because remember, we need to build up the capital. But whenever someone tells you that now this money is allocated to savings, that means that person is already creating an expectation. The person is treating the Sacco as a bank, like a bank. That means at a certain time they'll need their money back. So you as the executive, you cannot say that, hey, the money we all invested it in land, and so we have no money to give to you. No. Savings, when someone says the word savings, they're already giving you an expectation that, by the I'm giving you my money, I'm saving it there. But at a certain time, I would want to have access to it. Some people who can say, for us, usually right now, people can withdraw some of their savings. They're required to leave there at least a minimum of 100,000, because you also don't want people to just go and live like that. Yeah. So those are some of the things you can build in. But of course, at the beginning, we never allowed anyone to access their savings. For at least 3 years, you couldn't withdraw any money. It was after the 3 years that people started to withdraw money. And of course, they couldn't. Not everyone will come and withdraw, because remember, they are using them as savings. But then the thing is also that if people are also putting their money up for savings, that means also would require some interest, because I'm saving my money, and if the Sacco is doing the business of loans, if the Sacco is doing the business of investment of treasury bills, unit trusts, and the like, that means you have to give the ones who are saving money a bit of interest, isn't it? So that you can encourage them to keep their savings in the Sacco. Remember, the big bulk of that money will also be used in extension of loans, and also fixing in what? In assets that are also a bit risk-free. Because remember, you don't want to invest money for savings in hardcore investments. The moment you start doing that, then you're risking the people's savings. That is why you see the NSSF is not allowed. It is only allowed to invest currently. The current law allows them to invest in treasury bills and in publicly listed companies. And in publicly listed companies, they're even not allowed to go more than 40%. They're not allowed to own shares of more than 40% stake. So they have to stay below the 40% threshold. In other words, what is the law trying to do? The law is trying to protect savers' money. And if you look at the portion of their money, how they save, 70% of their money is in government bonds, because people have already tagged that money as what? As savings. But money which is tagged as capital, that one you can risk it. You get it? Because capital, what is it essentially? That there is a risk that when we invest it, we shall gain or we shall lose. Then subscription fees. These are fees that are paid once when a member is joining once, but some clubs do it annually, and I think I appreciate the annually because it helps to cater for running costs like bank charges, payments to administrators, payments to accountants, lawyers, and all these other things, organizing the Sacco functions. So those subscription fees are good if they are annual. Of course, it is an amount that can be paid by everyone. Then fines, this can be generated from penalties like not attending meetings, late remittances of contributions, and the like. Then interest. This will be generated from loans extended to members as well as fixed income securities. So for example, in our Sacco, we give loans of 12% per annum. So 12% per annum, we can decide as a Sacco that, for anyone who has fixed their money, if you have your money with us by December 2022 at the end, we shall give you 6%. So the 6% of the money we have earned as interest from loans, we can give to the ones who have been saving, and the 6% is what goes as profit for the what? To manage risk, profitability for the what? For the Sacco. So that means there will be interest that will be generated. Then of course, fixed income securities also do generate a lot of money as well, with coupons, interest that are paid for the short-term securities and coupons for the long-term bonds. Then capital gains through sale of assets like land. Yeah, there are some circles that go out and buy land and then we sell it back to the members. So that is also very, very possible. You sell it maybe if every plot, every 50 by 100 was 7 million, you can be like, for every 50 by 100, we shall sell it 10 million. That means there's a 3 million gain on each 50 by 100. So it's also possible. Yeah. The last one, this one is, I was looking at, just thinking for you what it would look like. Your capital, your balance sheet, or the money thing that you're going to, the monies that you're going to raise. So here I was thinking that if capital, if there are 500 members, each has a minimum shares of, each should have is 1,000, each at a share price of 3,000. That means that is 1.5 billion in a year that you can easily raise as 500 people. That means each person would contribute about maybe 3 million each year in 1 year. In 5 years, that is about 7.5 billion. It's possible. Then 500 members, that is in savings, 12 months, minimum amount, you may put it at 50,000. That is 300 million, 600,000 being contributed by a person every year. That is about 1.5 billion in 5 years. Then subscription fees, 510,000 each, every once a year, 5 million. That is 25 million in 5 years. Then I was imagining fines that are maybe 150 people are fined. Maybe they are fined twice a year. They pay 5,000. That is 1.5 million. That person has contributed 10,000. That is which is 1.5 million as money generated, 7.5 million in 5 years. So you find that in 1 year you can even raise up to 1.8 billion, and then in 5 years you're at 9 billion Uganda shillings. So what can happen, of course, it's not that this is not cast in stone. So what you can do is just adjust the share price and you adjust the minimum amount to see what is comfortable for people to contribute and send through. But we can do this. There is nothing that is difficult. I don't know, I believe you've all been seeing the times that we are in. They are not easy times, but then these are times that need for people to come together. I know that the mindset of us as Africans is like, build your legacy, build your own brand, build your own business. But where we are getting to, the cost of doing business alone is becoming harder. And so it needs for us to come together because number one, also the finances are stretched. Number two is that actually we don't even have a lot of time to run some of these things, and we also don't want to expose a lot of that risk to ourselves and our personal money is that we have saved up and everything. So when you come to a group of people and all of us build something, the one who is an accountant will give an idea on how we should best account. The one who is handling taxation will help us. The one who has a creative mind on what businesses we can engage in, for those who are even already business people, can even pitch to us ideas, because even then they are seeing certain ideas that they could develop. But because they have limited capital, they're like, by the way, we have all this 9 billion. Why don't we do this? You get it? And you will have scale. And I have seen that for organizations that have power in terms of money and everything, they're able to negotiate certain things that you not negotiate when you're standing alone. So where we have come to, I believe Africa is being looked at as the next supply chain for food. I think you've all been hearing of the scandal with there's not enough food supply right now. I think the Economist magazine, this week's Economist magazine, just published the food catastrophe. Right now, there is no food. I mean, there's even no baby formula in the United States and in Germany. Yeah. So you find that right now this war is affecting everyone, and you find that right now, I think I saw that the US is investing, I think, another $215 million in farmers so that we can get farms up and running. Serious farms, not these small farms, these large scale commercial farms, so that we can be able to distribute food. And our soils have been found that Our soils can feed up to 200 million by FAO. We can feed up to 200 million people, and we're just 45 million. That means we have excess supply. So I believe these are the times we can get into whatever business, whether it's exporting, whether it's the value addition chain, whatever it is. I believe it's possible, but I think it's possible when we are together, because first of all, we don't have that financing. We don't have a lot. Actually, the cost of financing will be going up, because with more risk that is involved, then also whoever is lending you money, the money lenders are 12%, 13% per month. I mean, those rates are very outrageous. However, if you have a Sacco where you can access financing at 12%, that is also very good. 12% per annum, but yet you find that a money lender is charging you 12% per month. I mean, you have a business that is breaking even 12% per month. I think that is a bit suicidal. I think we would find a lot of challenges. However, if you're in a group like this and you're like, we have 1 billion, now the Sacco has grown. I think I can access 20 million in loans. You get people to guarantee you, and you're faithful, and you pay that 12% comfortably, because 12% means that is 1% per what? Per month. That means you can easily what? Pay off that loan comfortably, even though they gave you 14% per annum. It's also not bad against the money lenders 12% or 14% per month, or even against the banks 16, 18%. You get it? So this is a place where we can really maximize value and also access financing. Yeah. So I want to thank you for listening to me. I hope I've not said so many things, but I tried the best I can to be able to meet um, Darius's needs. I hope I've been able to meet and successfully share on what needs to be done and the way forward for the team. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you very much, Susan, for sharing with us. This has been very insightful. You have been very detailed, and at least I can say that you've responded to many of the questions that members would have as we are starting out. So I want to thank you very much for giving us your time, for sharing with us your knowledge, and equipping us with the knowledge that we need to be able to get started. I have a few questions from the chat room, which I'm going to read out. But maybe before, I would like to clarify to members that because of time, questions that are very specific to how we are going to operate, I will leave them out. Like how often are we going to meet? Where are we going to meet? Those ones, I will leave them out. So I'll pick out only questions that maybe relate to governance. How can we do that? What are some of the benefits that members who are here for the first time may be able to pick up? So questions that Susan may be in position to respond to. I've also seen on call people who have joined. Probably they were recommended by friends to join, but they are not part of the personal finance mastery community. So if you are and you would like to be part of the initiative, I've put in the chat a link for registering to be part of the Sacco initiative, because it's not that every member of the personal finance master community may want to join. So we still put out for members to express their particular interest. So you may fill that form, but also I've put my number, which you may text me, and then I'll be able to add you to the personal finance mastery community WhatsApp forum, where we can always share with you knowledge about personal finances and our general financial literacy that we always have. This is a sub-initiative of the bigger goal that we already had to empower our members with knowledge on personal finance and how they can manage their finances a little bit better. So I hope that clarifies. If you did not hear your question being read, just know that I've saved it, but we will be able to respond to it or discuss it on our WhatsApp forum, as well as in the physical meeting, which we shall have. I'll communicate on the forum when we shall have that physical meeting. So, Susan, so I had a question from Aaron, and Aaron was asking, at what stage should a Sacco think of opening up branches? and what should drive this extension? At what
Okay.
stage are profits and losses determined or detected?
Okay, thank you so much, Darius and Aaron, for that question. So, branches, that means it would have to be like a countrywide, especially if these people are coming from very many places. I'll give an example, like the Wazalendo one has branches, and it's because they have soldiers all over the country, and I think that is more sustainable and understandable, because you wouldn't want a soldier to move all the way from Mbarara to come and access a loan. You get it? But where we have gone, remember, we are trying to also reduce the costs of the entity. So you don't want a lot of brick and mortar. So you want at least to I'll give an example like UN. UN only has one office, and I think it is on Mawanda Road, and they're not coming. They'll put in their loan requests, so everything is digitized. So first of all, the thing is that is going to help you. DFC is going to give you, once you open up the account, you'll have something called the DFCU Club app. Now the DFCU Club app, the entire executive, the ones who are the signatories to the account, can be able to successfully see everyone who is sending in money. And it doesn't mean that a member has to have an account in DFCU Bank. No, a member just has to be able to access an MTN mobile money platform. You deposit money on your MTN mobile money and you channel it through to DFCU, and you'll have downloaded the DFCU Club app. You'll have Darius and the team and the treasurer will have created for everyone accounts within the DFCU platform. So when you're just sending your money, it just comes straight into your into your wallet that is under the Sacco account. The other thing would be, if you don't have the DFCU Club app, you can always do it through an agent banking. An agent banking, DTB, Centenary, all these different banks can also be able to successfully deposit for you on the DFCU account for the Sacco, and then the Sacco will be able to enter like, hey, this money was for Susan this month, let me put it into her account and everything. So you're able to see how your money is accumulating. So the entire executive will be able to see what everyone is bringing in. Then for you as a member using the DFCU Club app, for you will be able to see only what you contribute to the Sacco. And of course, I believe there should be a running balance of the entire Sacco. Then also they have built the system further, that even when you want to request for a loan, you just go into the DFCU Club app and you request for a loan, and the executive will be checking, and the administrator will be like, hey, today we got through the platform, we got about 5 loan requests, and then they start the processing. You'll have your systems on how you process those loans. So the DFCU Club app is being improved daily. It is even going to have accounting functions and all these other things that are going to be able to help you. So what will happen is, once you've created the account, immediately they will bring a trainer for you to be able to help you to train and onboard every person, and to be able, so that we go away remember, you have to be so many to be able to justify, but yet the head office can comfortably do it. Even the URA, staff circle is so big, but it's not in every branch of URA. It's centralized here, isn't it? And everything is being managed electronically. Yeah, so the brick and mortar is good, but the only challenge that it brings unwanted expenses, because that means you need to pay salaries, you need to pay rent, you need to pay for water, electricity, and all those things are eating into the P&L, the profit. It's reducing the profits that would have gone to the members. However, if you have one office here in Kampala that is centralized, then it's good and go. It has systems, computers. Even though you have 10 employees, 15 employees, it is okay. But all these people are working for all these people that are countrywide. And by the way, not even just in Uganda, even those who are living abroad, because there are very many circles that have, even my circle has, I think, 2 people that are living outside Uganda, and they send their money comfortably. So don't worry about that. Then how to determine the profits and losses? Obviously, that is going to be assessed every single month. Every single month, administrators and the accountant, as they're entering into their financials, they should even be tracking. The management accounts should be showing that, in April we made a loss, in May we made a loss, those things. And at the end of the year, we shall have the overall profit and overall loss. So I believe once you're fixing the money and you're minimizing those costs and you're investing, I believe we can manage and minimize the losses as much as possible. So losses are going to come if we are spending a lot of money and yet we are not earning. That is at the onset. Yeah. But how at the onset, as we are starting, let's just try as much as possible to limit our costs. If it is possible at the beginning, if people can volunteer some of these services, like say legal, accounting, if someone can properly volunteer and help us and give us their time at the onset, it would be good. Maybe also the other thing to add on, maybe what I didn't share was that for the first 6 months, that is why you see you're going to need DFC to help you with that constitution so that you can edit it and set up the account. Because you're also not going to go to the Ministry of Cooperatives when you've not done anything. You'll first save your money like for 6 months. Then after 6 months, yeah, you start applying for these licenses, as for this registration at the Ministry of Cooperative, because you need to have a history. So it's important, start setting up the account, the administration and the systems. Then by the time you go to the cooperatives ministry, it should be easy for you. Yeah. So thank you for that.
All right. Wonderful, Susan. Thank you for that response. So I have someone here who is asking. Susan says that a company cannot be a member of a Sacco. How come we have schools that set up Sacco accounts and they even borrow money from there? They have shares there.
So the schools that are already, because a school is a company, isn't it?
Yes.
A company like a limited. But remember, in the school, it is the teachers' body that has decided to set up a Sacco, just like it is at URA, BOU, all these big organizations, isn't it? Even mine, isn't it? For us who are church members, okay, for us who are not a company, but let me look at URA. It is the URA staff Sacco. You get it? It is the, which other company? What would I call it? I'll give an example. The UN. The UN is also an agency, isn't it? You could be like, these are agencies, they shouldn't be having. A teacher's Sacco is allowed. It is an independent entity. That is why even when people leave certain schools or certain jobs, if you leave URA and you're no longer working there, it doesn't mean that you're no longer part of their Sacco. There are Sacco people who retired out of URA 30 years ago, but they're still part of the Sacco. This is something that is usually even organized separately. It is the members, the staff members that start the initiative. But the thing is that the organization, of course, allows it to thrive within, isn't it? Then these people contribute within each other, who is starting what? Then after, they will even get administrators that run it. So it is, the school can run it, but the thing is, it's a separate entity. It is not something that gives the school money. It is teachers who are saying that after I have earned out of St. Mary's Chitende, St. Mary's Chitende has paid me 1 million, my 1 million. But part of my 1 million, I'm going to give 200,000 to our school Sacco, because that is where I am saving my money. Usually, what happens with organizations that have these Saccos, they just require HR to do some enforcement. Yeah, like enforcement in terms of what, like to assist them. Of course, it is still an option. They tell you, do you want to be part? Because they also don't force. They said, if you want to be part, please register. But there are some companies where like it's compulsory to be part, because what do they want to do? They want to make sure that you're building up savings. Even Equity Bank, all those banks have Saccos in there, but they are for the staff members. But now they just need the HR department of the institution to do some enforcement. How? To be like, they set up it in the system that as salaries are being paid, they say if minimum to contribute is 100,000, they automatically send that 100,000 off your salary into the Sacco account, so they can drive enforcement. So some things are set up like that, but it's not that it is not allowed. What is not allowed, what I said is that company coming over, like Darius and Company Limited, coming to come and be part of the mastery Sacco. You get it? They are saying that a company that is registered under company law cannot come and be part of the mastery Sacco unless it has expressed interest to the registry of cooperatives who has given them permission to be part. That a company that is already incorporated, the other side, cannot just come and be a direct member here in our mastery. That is why the Cooperatives Act, when you see it caters for individuals, that it's individuals who can be members of a Sacco and not companies. And they are saying that the allowance for companies is there, but only after the registrar has given the permission. However, when you belong to any company, you as staff members, you can decide to start a cooperative as long as you have the minimum required number of people, 30. It is acceptable. I hope I've answered that question.
Yes. All right. Thank you, Susan. Maybe if I can clarify, I think you've answered the bit as you were ending. So what the person was saying was that so they have seen schools have accounts in existing circles. But I think as you are ending, you explained that they do that through the Ministry of Cooperatives. They have to seek special permission
Permission, yes.
such kind of account. So thank you very much for explaining that. I think it's very clear. So allow me to pass on this question from a member and maybe to put context into it. So the personal finance mastery community, most of our activities have been virtual. So some members have not met each other. So I'm trying to paraphrase a member's question. So Shamim says, so in such a case, what would be the safeguards for members to feel that their money is secure and may not be prone to being conned?
That is true. That is true. Because the mastery class has been virtual, then that means that this, of course, the safeguards are usually the committee. So these committees have to be very independent. And I believe we have the executive committee that runs the Sacco on a day-to-day basis, but we also, remember, gave allowance for a board, isn't it? So the board, which will comprise of 9 members, gives oversight to this executive committee, and that is the one that has to ensure that has the trust of the people. They have to be overseeing that executive to ensure that this money, for example, I'll give an example, Darius, it shouldn't be you and your friends and your relatives on the executive. It should be different people from different people who are on this platform that have already been serving. And not to Darius to be like, my wife can also come and be a treasurer. No. So it has to be, there has to be a proper vetting system. Then I also believe that also people should start meeting physically so they start knowing each other, isn't it? You may find that people are here on the platform that actually know each other, but because they have not seen each other, they won't know each other. So that we can start driving that cohesion. And remember also at the bank, the other side, they never allow one single person to withdraw money. So it's usually like, for example, whenever I would go I sign for people money to take out for loans and everything, you'd find that they would have to call the chairperson and another person to be able to confirm the payment that is going out. So and they'll be like, hey, how much money is being released and what is the purpose of the money, and then we'd state it, and then they would be able to give me the money, even though I'm the one who is physically showing up. So you find that the bank goes ahead to make those controls. So these people that we vote into power should be people that are trusted, people with integrity, people who have a background and they shouldn't be known. Yeah, if it is possible, you can even put things like police letters, you check their national ID. Of course, national ID details will be taken, but they need to sign to append their signatures to even stricter measures. And maybe if it is found that you have been fraudulent, even though you're limited in liability, for you we shall come and take your assets, isn't it? To be able to repay back the Saccos money, isn't it? So things like that have to be put in place, and it's okay, because especially for a group that has known each other and they're just coming from different walks of life. But I also think that it's high time, now that they have opened up, that we start also meeting physically. Yes, to drive that cohesion. Because also the other thing that is going to be important, who's going to guarantee me for a loan? Yet they don't know me. People have to know me, isn't it? People will not guarantee strangers. So it's time for the meets and greets to happen.
All right. Thank you very much, Susan. Definitely, yes. We actually, our next meeting is going to be physical, and that will happen in about 2 weeks' time. So we are going to start to move physical at least
Mm.
once every quarter, so that members can get to interact more with each other. So
Yeah.
I have a comment from Roy who says, thanks, Susan. In other words, do you mean every investment club should actually involve into a circle if it is to engage in business or venture into investments?
Like I stated for earlier, that investment clubs, we we have a vast majority of investment clubs, and you can decide to remain as a club that just saves together money, and you do the normal cash round of giving each other money. I don't know if you've been in things called chivinas, or village VHTs. Me, I've been part of chivinas. I would say chivinas are the things that helped me to grow in saving, and my mom is the one who introduced me to those things. And I started I think in senior six is when I started in vivinas. So, but those are already also investment clubs. However, when you're in a chibina, in cash rounds, in giving yourselves money and dividing up at the end of the year, you're not doing the business of what? Of investing together. Here we are saying we want to not just only to save and invest. Now, when you go to the word called the bank setup currently and how you're saving your money can allow you to comfortably save and share around this money. However, when it comes to the business of starting to invest, we want to buy land, we want to set up a company, we want to do agriculture, we want to do all those things. The moment you want to deploy money as a group, you cannot you cannot go just as a normal investment club like you have been, because like I said, you cannot be buying land, 200 acres of land, and you're buying it in the names of Susan and Darius, because they're not going to recognize the personal mastery investment club as it's not an entity, it's not rare. So the personal mastery class has to evolve into something. Because other than that, you're going to buy the land in the name, 200 acres in Susan and Darius's names. Now, should Susan and Darius wake up one morning and start selling off that land, remember that's their name that is on the title. So they can sell off that land properly and escape and run away, and you'll never see them. So in order to start investing, especially those large sums of money for a large group of people, you have to evolve into something, a legal entity that can be sued under the laws of Uganda. In an investment club, people who are just coming to do cash rounds cannot be sued because they are individuals. There is no law that can attach them. You cannot prove that you actually gave me money to buy that land. Is there any proof? Because actually, when I was receiving the money, probably went to the bank together at DFCU. You withdraw the money from the account, and remember, when you're withdrawing the money from the account, they don't put the member in whose names the land was bought. They put the one who was withdrawn, the one who is the signatory. Susan Amagana is the one who withdrew this money. You get it? So what will happen is that I can easily disappear. So that means if we want to start investing people's large sums of money, we have to evolve into something. You either do it as a company under the Cooperatives Act, because you can sue a cooperative properly if they have engaged in the business of selling off your land without and eating the money. You as members can sue properly the cooperative, or as a company. But since we said that the company only allows up to 100 shareholders, then that means because we are over 500, that means the best setting would be the what? The cooperative, because it allows for growth of members. We can have as many members, even up to 1,000, even up to 10,000. We can have as many members as what? As possible. But in a company, you may not. So you have to choose between the two. But why you do that is because you want to secure your money. You want to secure your money under a legal entity. If it is land that is being bought, it is land with the charter of Personal Finance Class Sacco Limited. If you're going to set up an agriculture exporting company, it is not set up under Darius and Susan. It's set up under Personal Finance Mastery Class Sacco Limited Exporting Business, something like that. That is what you are setting up. That is what the certificate of registration and incorporation allows you to do. But if you don't have legal representation, you cannot sue and you cannot be sued. We can walk away properly with your money and go away. Yeah. And remember, Also, if it's just an account, investment clubs, usually people will even sometimes open the accounts under the names of the two people. And I told you already, the rights of a person is to access all the legitimate information. So when you go to the bank or you come to the Sacco office and the bank account is in my names, we can tell you that the account is in the names of Darius and Susan, so you can't access it, and there is nothing you will do about it. But if the investment club is under the names of the entity, I can access that information because I'm a member properly. Yes. So these are safeguards for you, for your money. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Susan. So most people are appreciating, and thank you very much for impacting this knowledge onto us. So I'll
Thank you.
just like to pick up this question from someone. If I have shares in a Sacco and I'm actively honoring my monthly saving obligations, but probably I've not paid my annual membership, how do you treat my savings in a period I haven't paid my membership?
Yeah, the membership fee has to be what? Paid. If it is not paid, and usually it's not a big sum, it's just 10,000 shillings or 20,000. So membership fees, we can tell you, can we deduct? Because it's a must. Because remember, it helps us run the entity. So we can deduct it from your savings. We tell you we are going to deduct from your savings, and actually you'll see that deduction on your what? On your statement. But it's usually not a big fee that people should fear. It can be 10,000, it can be 20,000, it can be 5,000, all that, and it is paid once a year, just once a year. So, but remember, you have to be a member, you have to subscribe, and remember, for registration purposes, for that one, even you have to show a list that people paid membership fees, and then you also submit the same list again when now you're also applying for the permanent what? Permanent certificate, and that's it. Yeah, but don't shy away from paying membership fees. It's small money, it's not big money. Yeah, thank you.
All right. Thank you, Susan. Like I said, people are appreciating. They're saying they appreciate, and actually, someone says they would like to have a one-on-one with you.
Okay.
That was Julius in the chat. And then the last question is kindly talk more about the signatories of the bank account, given that we are looking at such a huge number joining the group. How many signatories do we need in your assessment? Because this is important. And who? Yes.
Yes, so the signatories, usually they will tell you to submit 3 people to be signatories, and usually that's the chairperson, the vice, and maybe the treasurer. And then the powers, of course, is given. You say that any two at any one time of those two can sign for money. So any two, whether it can be a combination of the treasurer and the chairperson, the vice chairperson and the treasurer. So those two people are going to be those 3 people will be signatories to the account, but usually any two can have money drawn out. Yeah. So and of course the committee, of course, the entire committee has to know who's withdrawing, even though there are two people who can sign on the withdrawal slips of money that is coming out, but the entire committee, that is the 5 people, can be copied, and they know that who is withdrawing the money and what it's being drawn for. And even the executive, remember, we are going to have the board. For you, in your case, you need to have a board because you're so many that is overseeing. Also, the board can see that money that is coming out of that account for transparency and accountability. So it will be very hard that all of us 9 plus another 5 committee 14 members are all in agreement to taking out money, yeah, that is in an unscrupulous way. So 3 people will always be there as signatories to the bank, and any 2 can always sign. But for approvals of all that money, all of those people have to all those people will be in copy in email that we are withdrawing for this, and this person, they are taking out a loan, and it's known. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much, Susan. We really appreciate you having shared with us your knowledge. Someone in the comments says they are from UEDCL and they have a Sacco and would like to share experiences. Please, Barongo, if you can send me a text on the number I've shared on the chat, we can always bring you on board to come and share your experiences. So unless there is
Yeah.
any one burning question from anyone that I may have missed out, please, you may indicate it. But as you do that, allow me to appreciate Susan once again for having taken off time on such a day. Sunday evening is usually a time to relax, to come and share with us. So Susan, we can assure you that all the knowledge that you've shared with us, we are going to ensure that we put it into practice step by step. Of course, I appreciate that it's not most likely not all the 500 people will start, but we'll start with those who will be into the initiative, and we can move so that but you can be sure that your knowledge is not going to go to waste. For those who are asking, we'll be having physical meetings, which we can where we can connect more and discuss more of the objectives and how we would like to drive this. Remember, the objective is to ensure that we put into practice the knowledge that we've acquired over the last 2 years to be able to better our finances. So, Susan, here is Akatale Keka as we
Maybe
close.
I'll also, yes, Katalekeka, I will share back with you, Darius, the contact details for the people at the cooperative. Once you are ready, once the 6 months, of course, have passed, 4 to 6 months. In the 4th month, you should start trading. And the person who can help you, the ladies who also helped us to now get our permanent registration, I'll be able to share contact detail of the person from the ministry there. Yes. So actually, because this Sacco is going to be registered in Kampala, I know they will tell you to go to also a KCCA office, a DISO office. So those can also be because every district has a district cooperative officer. So you first go to where they registered so they can approve. They're like, hey, we don't have a lot of Saccos here. Then they approve you to with a letter, the one that you will present at the approvals, and even like things like resolutions, if you're changing signatories, those things actually are still free of charge at the cooperative ministry. They file your registrations properly, and they're all done and thingy. But at the beginning, I know you'll have to do under USB your constitution just to get a bank account, but then you'll have to come through the cooperative ministry to be able to now fully get the certificate of registration. Maybe to also ask, I don't know, privately, I don't know. So what maybe I'll ask you later on what are the requirements for joining such a club. Because yes, if a person can save in as many places as possible, I would also be interested since it's from people from different walks of life. Yeah, but thank you so much. I wish you all the best, and in case of any support, I'm available.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you, Susan. Before you leave, there's a question here which I know you did hint about it, but someone is asking, what is a multi-purpose Sacco? That will be your last question.
According to the Act, a multi-purpose Sacco is a Sacco that is willing to engage in more than one enterprise of business. So if you're going to do many things, real estate, loans, exporting, whatever business you want to do, that is called a multi-purpose. But a Sacco that is strictly savings and credit, I'll give an example like one of Wazalendo, Olsen Sacco, those ones, they are called savings and credit. Those ones only are reserved to the business of collecting people's money and distributing it out back in loans, and also maybe engaging in things like fixed treasury bills and bonds and fixed deposits only. But a multi-purpose is saying we can, in addition to savings and credit, we can also do things like real estate, things like agriculture, things like anything we want to do, planting trees, anything they can do. So engaging in more than one enterprise, that is what the Act describes it as. And they'll have different books when you go for them. They have the multi-purpose books are pink small books. Then the ones for savings and credit are blue long books. They will be there. Yeah, but make sure you ask for multi-purpose. You don't want to be under savings and credit. Yeah, just like us. Just like my circle, we are multi-purpose. We are called KESAF Multi-Purpose Cooperative. Yeah. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you very much, Susan. Once
Yeah.
again, we are delighted, and there's no way I can express the gratitude that we really have for
Thank you
you.
too.
Someone in the group has requested, I don't know, for whatever reasons, that they would like you to close this session with a prayer.
Amen, amen, amen. Okay. Holy Spirit, we want to thank you for today. We want to thank you for your love. Holy Spirit, we thank you because it is